Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mama Christine's podcast, Living Life Through Experience. This is episode 9. I just love doing these for you guys. I really, really do. It always makes me feel so good to be able to help other people, and if it's through a little bit of guidance, whether all of it resonates with you or only some of it does, I know I've done what I'm supposed to do. So today we're going to talk about something really interesting, but first we're going to pick a card, like I always do. So, chakra deck, here we go. Perfect. Gossip, right? So what does that mean? First of all, in the chakra deck, green is your heart chakra. And what is your heart chakra? But your truth. All your truth comes through your heart chakra. When you're feeling drawn to do something, it's coming from your heart chakra. If you're not in your heart chakra, then you're here. In your head, in your ego. And that's what the gossip is. When you feel drawn to do something, what happens? You feel very strongly about it, very positive about it. You feel like, I've got to do this. I've got to go there. I've got to make this happen. I got this goal. I got this dream. And you're very excited and very just raring to go. And then what happens? You give yourself 3, 2, 1, and boom, ego pops in. Are you sure? What if it's not the right thing? What if it's a mistake? What if it doesn't work? What if I don't have the money? What if people don't come? What if I fail? See how quickly that turned around into such a negative thing? That's the gossip. Your gossip is your ego. That is your negativity, your false evidence. Stick to your heart. Your heart knows your truth. So stop listening to the ego and listen to your heart. That's what this card is all about. And it's funny because that card is going to lead us into our conversation for the evening, which is this: insecurity. Because if we're listening to that gossip, why? It's because we're insecure. Now, your red is your root chakra, and your root chakra is all about groundedness, stability, your foundation, right? It's your strength, it's your courage, but it's also your fears, your doubts, and your worries. Time to start listening to the fear, the doubt, and the worry. Those emotions were meant to be something you feel for a moment, like doing something new, like, oh my God, I'm so nervous, I'm scared, but you do it anyway. And we have taken these emotions and held on to them like we own them. And let me tell you, you don't own those emotions. They are only something for you to borrow. Think of it as like a library book. It's not yours, but you can borrow it and then bring it back when you're done, right? Your emotions are the same thing. The only emotion you should really hold on to all the time is love. Because everything in your life is either love or it's fear. So why not hold on to the love, right? So the insecurities come from many different places. And it starts from home, your childhood. Your parents raised you however they raised you. They did whatever they could. Maybe they have patterns that they've carried on from their parents and their parents before them. And they carried them and brought them onto you. And maybe some of it seemed normal at the time. But now we look at that and go, wow, that really wasn't normal because it made me feel however it made you feel. I can tell you, as far as living life through experience as a child, I remember going, oh, you're getting so pudgy. Oh, you're getting so fat. And it was like right away I'm thinking like, oh my God, that's a bad thing, right? And I can't be a good person if I'm fat, right? Nobody ever comes out and says, oh, don't worry about the weight. It's normal. Everybody's weights fluctuate for one reason or another, which is true, right? Some people are heavy. Why? Because maybe they have a medical condition. Maybe their medication has a side effect which makes you gain weight, right? Now, the opposite can be true of being skinny. I know people who are so thin, but it's just who they are and how their life is. But yet people will look at them and go, oh, you're too skinny. So what is right? What is right? Is there a specific number of pounds you're supposed to weigh? Is there a specific height and weight management that I didn't know about? Like, what's going on? So, it's hard to listen to these things and not take them in and be hurt by them, and it makes you start questioning yourself, and you're like, oh my God, I'm fat. Oh my God, that makes me a bad person. Oh my God, that means I don't fit in. Oh my God, that means, oh my God, and it just goes on and on and on. That's where the gossip comes in, right? So now that you're holding all that gossip, now the insecurity sets in. Oh, well, I don't want to go to prom because I'm going to look so fat. I'm going to look like a whale in my dress. Do you know how many thin people I've heard say that? Now, mind you, my weight has fluctuated my whole life. It's gone from being so skinny to heavy to skinny to heavier and skinnier, and it's gone back and forth. And I'm like, whatever, it is what it is. But I know that when my weight has fluctuated, it also fluctuated due to the fact of what's been going on in my life. And it is what it is. So we work on our emotional, mental levels. That sometimes does help with the physical. So, especially in the weight department. But to get back to the topic here, my whole reason for talking about this today, and I know I've talked about these things before, is I did a video this morning. It was so quick. It was funny because I was going to pull a card and do my typical pull a card and here's a message. And I heard, no, you have to say this today. And I went, wow, okay, that's weird. Yeah, not weird. I'm just going to go with it. Because I listen. Because when Spirit talks, I listen. Anyway, so my video this morning was this. If you were at a party, okay, or, out and about, whatever, and you run into somebody and they're with a friend that you don't know, and they say, oh, hi, my name is Susan, and you say, hi, my name is whatever your name is. But we classify ourselves by what we think about ourselves. So think about this. If somebody said, hi, my name is Susan, you turn around and go, hi, my name is Insecure. Right? Now, is insecure who you are? No. You are who you are. Your name. That's who you are. And what happens is we do get so stuck on this merry-go-round of negativity about ourselves that if we were to be honest as we introduced ourselves to other people, you'd be hearing things like, hi, I'm sick and tired. Hi, I'm insecure. Hi, I'm unworthy. Hi, I'm full of fear. Hi, I'm, right? Wouldn't that be crazy? But those things are not who you are. It's what you're feeling. So do not label yourself or classify yourself by your emotions, because those are just emotions. It's something you're feeling in that moment or that period of time, and you need to learn to let it go because it's not who you are. Right? So think about starting a new job. Okay, you're either starting a new job or maybe you're changing schools. You're going from middle school to high school, those kinds of things. You guys remember that, right? It was very nerve-wracking. It was a big change. And in that moment, there was a lot of fear because you didn't know what to expect. You felt like the other kids in the school were going to be so much older than you, even though it was only like a year to 3 years older. But it felt like such a shift in life. And you were so nervous and fearful and feeling less than probably. And then you got there and then you realized like, wow, this isn't so bad. So here we go. And then you start moving into the space and you feel better and you let go of the fear and all those other negative emotions. So why don't we do that normally? When we go through things as kids, we go through it, we do it, fearful or not. And of course, most of the time our parents make us do these things because it's something we're supposed to be doing. And we get through it. But then as adults, it's like we forget. We learn to walk as kids. And as kids, a toddler, you stand up, you fall, you stand up, you fall. But we keep going until we get it, right? And like, look at me, I can stand up now. And yet as adults, we fall down, we get back up, we fall back down, we get back up, we fall down, we go, screw it, and I'm not getting back up. Why? Why do we give up on ourselves as adults? At this point in your life, how many years of experience do you have in this lifetime so far on this lovely earth of ours, right? So, I mean, if I've got 57 years in, then shouldn't I be knowledgeable enough to know what I'm good at and that everything's going to be okay, and that, yes, it may feel a little nervous, but that will pass as soon as I go and do what I got to do? No, we give up way too fast. You need to heal from your grief. You need to heal from your breakup. You need to heal from this. You need to heal from that. Okay, do it. I can't. We give up so quickly, right? So why is it today we are so quick to say, I'm this and I'm that? Why? Because you've been programmed to believe everything you hear, good, bad, or otherwise. Think about that. So, you could be that somebody, maybe you're in a relationship, and in the beginning, of course, of relationships are amazing, right? And then over time, things start to change. And next thing you know, you're not good enough. You're not worthy. Everything's your fault. I can name a bunch of them, really. But now it's happening so often, you're starting to believe all this. And now you want to be the people pleaser. Well, maybe I'll do something nice for them so they'll like me. Maybe I'll do a little extra because then they'll accept me. And anytime something goes wrong, you're apologizing for it before you even know where the blame is supposed to be. So it's like, what are you doing? We change who we are to be okay with ourselves, and that's not right. You should not just be okay with yourself and just do whatever makes everybody else happy so you're miserable. No. Again, I've said this a million times. You are on this earth to live your life, not anybody else's. Your responsibility is to take care of you. The only other time you have other obligations is if you have children. Obviously, kids need to be taken care of. And if you have elderly parents or an aunt and uncle or something that, they could use the extra help, then by all means, help. But don't be stuck doing everything yourself, especially if you have other people who can help you as well. And therefore, we always feel less than. Why am I always the one? Why am I being punished? Why? Oh, how many whys is there? We need to start looking at ourselves as who we truly are. So going back to when you meet somebody and you say, hi, my name is Christine. And, really in your head, you're going, hi, I'm insecure. Hi, I'm unworthy. Because that's what you're truly feeling. But again, it's not identifying you as who you are. So remember that. So as we move on, how do we stop that? First of all, you got to catch yourself. If you catch yourself thinking, and I don't mean when you meet somebody, I mean anytime, okay? Because insecurity is 24/7, especially higher in energy when you're feeling faced with other people or situations or triggers or whatever. And so you're going to stop yourself and say, wait a minute. If I'm feeling fear right now, it's only for the moment. Once I do this and get through it, it's gone. I'll be fine. Because there's a difference between nervous fear and fear. The nervous fear is like, this scares me and I'm going to do it anyway. And then there's a fear where it's like, I can't do this, and you refuse to move. Don't be that person. Move on. Do what makes you happy, even if it scares you a little. Because everything is scary at first. Think of how many things you've done in your life that is scary. Learning to walk, learning to run, learning to ride a bike, right? Learning to swim, learning to ski, all these different things. God, there's a million things you could have done in your lifetime already that made you were afraid to do, but you did it. And then once you did it, you were like, oh my God, I did it, right? It's just we never have patience with ourselves. And again, the programming that goes into our head from other people, it kills you. It really does. So, I grew up with people saying those things, and to them back then it was normal. Oh, you're fat, okay. There's other things as well. I remember wanting to do things as when I was younger and being told, you can't do that. Why are you going to do that? That doesn't make any sense. Because sometimes parents felt that they knew better. Like if I had told my mom and dad when I was a kid that I'm going to grow up and be a Reiki master, they would have been like, What are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about, right? But because I did it later in life, when I was an adult and I knew what I wanted in life and I knew that this was something I needed to do, I did it. And they accepted it. And then told me how proud they were of me for getting to where I was. So don't ever assume either what people are going to think of you. But work on letting go of this stuff. It's just not worth it. It's, oh my God, it's crazy. We hold on to all this negativity. We hold on to all this backlash of words that just make us feel like so inadequate, insecure, unworthy, so on and so forth. And it's not who you are. Again, think of those things as like something a bully would do. And I, by all means, I don't want to be calling anybody's parents or anybody a bully, but words are words, okay? But think of a bully. If a bully kept picking on you every single day, whatever they are picking on you for is a shortcoming of their own. So if they keep telling you how ugly you are and how ugly you are and how ugly you are, it's because they don't feel pretty enough or handsome enough themselves. Because whatever they pick on you for is a reflection of themselves. That's really what it is. So if there's anybody that's insecure, it's usually the person throwing shade at you. It's really what it is. But because it's getting thrown at us and because somebody is saying it, it must be true because they see it. No, all they see is a reflection of themselves within you. So remember that. So when you're out and about and you're meeting people, I want you to say, hi, my name is, and say your name, which I know you would. I mean, this is conversation. You would never introduce yourself as I am insecure or I am inadequate or I am unworthy or any of those things. Because, obviously you're going to say, hi, my name is, and you say your name. But remember, it's like, even though we say that, we still believe the other stuff. So don't believe the feelings, because feelings are just that, feelings. Feelings come and go. Feelings last for a minute. They last for a long time, but they're only feelings. Feelings change all the time. So be mindful of that. So as we go on, I want you to remember these things and to start releasing and letting go of these things because, again, they're thoughts, they're ideas, they're not truths. That's a big one, okay? Then I want you to do this. I want you to follow your passion. Now, the orange stands for emotions, the sacral chakra. So emotionally, what is your passion? What makes your heart happy? So when people say to me, well, what's your passion? I'm like, oh my God, this right here. Doing Reiki, doing readings, doing coaching, helping people, helping guide people to what they're looking for, helping people to heal, whatever it is. This is my passion. This is what I love. This is what I enjoy. 19 plus years in, and I'm like getting up every morning still going, I'm off to work. I can't wait to get there. Right? Can you say the same thing? No. Some yes, some no. But if it's a no, then find your passion. What makes you happy? What makes you tick? Then what happens? Oh, I found my passion. This is what I would really love to do with my life. And then, again, somebody's going to come in and go, are you sure? That seems pretty stupid. Why would you leave a really good job to go do that? Now you get this, the guilt trip. Oh, I feel guilty. I have so many friends at work. If I was to leave work, they would be so upset. I don't want to upset anybody. Okay, so you're going to stay in a job that you don't like and a job that drives you crazy so everybody else is happy. What about you? No. Get rid of the guilt. Get rid of the guilt. Again, you're on this planet to live your life, not anybody else's, so you need to do what's best for you. Number one, okay? Okay, so what now? The destiny. So what is next? What is next for me? What can I do? What can I change? The gray area. Sometimes we don't know. We don't know, and that's okay. You will feel it in your heart when it's time to jump on something new or jump and go somewhere else or whatever it might be. Trust and believe that Whatever is going to happen when, where, and how it's supposed to. The opportunity, what if I miss? You won't miss it. The opportunity will be there, okay? The only way you're going to miss it is if the opportunity arises and you decide that, hi, I'm fearful, right? Instead of, hi, I'm Susan. It's such a pleasure to meet you and I can't wait to start working here. I'm just using a job as an example. You know what I mean? So when the opportunity arises, if you choose to walk away from that opportunity, then that's your choice, right? That is your choice. And that's the greatest thing about life is we have choices. And so if you're stuck in a relationship that doesn't work or that you're not happy with, or if you're stuck in a job that I just stay because it pays the bills and I have benefits, or you're stuck in family drama that you don't want to be part of, then guess what? You made that choice. You made that choice. Start feeling good about yourself. Go back to, hi, I'm so-and-so. Be that person. Be Susan, be Doug, be Mark, be Jane, be whoever you are, be Christine, be you. Be who you are. And when you are you and not those negative emotions, those negative feelings, those negative words, right? And you start working on letting go of people that just don't click with you anymore, jobs that don't click with you anymore. And I know people right away like, well, I can't just quit my job and go find another one. No, nobody said to do that. But you can set your intentions for this new job that you would love to have, even if you're not sure what it is. I just would love to find a 40-hour job with benefits, making X amount of dollars or more, working with some really good people, and doing something I would truly love. That's all you got to do. They'll do the rest. So keep that in mind. But yeah, just keep going. Let go of what no longer serves you. And therefore, that doorknob you've been holding on to for years, you can let it go so you can get to that next doorknob and open up the next new beginning of your life, the new stage of your life. There's always new stages. There's always changes. Nothing stays the same. And I think that's what's so fearful for some people is you finally get into a groove in life, right? You've plateaued and you're like, oh, life is good, right? I get up, I have my coffee in the morning, I got my dog, I got my significant other, I got kids, you got whatever you got. And then it's like, okay, I'm off to work and things are good and I got friends and I got some gal pals, we go for dinner and, me and the hubby or whoever, we're hitting a show and, things are good. And then all of a sudden something changes with the job, let's say. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, everything's good, but the job is really starting to suck. Why? Because it's time for you to move on. When things start to change and they're not connecting with you in the middle, it's time to move on. Because what happens is we get here and it's like, yes, this is where everything feels great. And then all of a sudden it's like the job's starting to fall. And the job's falling. And it's like, okay, there's nothing to meet here anymore. Exactly. There's nothing there to meet anymore. So guess what? Move on. Move on. Don't be afraid. There's a million jobs out there. Weren't you nervous when you first started the job you have? Or any job for that matter, right? We get nervous. You don't have to be fearful. What if it doesn't work? So you look for another one. It's not the end of the world. Seriously. Trust your instincts. Trust yourself. I tell people that all the time. I trust and believe everything is going as planned. I trust and believe everything is going to happen when it's supposed to happen. I trust and believe the universe is sending me opportunities as we speak. You have to do your best to be positive. It doesn't mean I got to walk around smiling and giggling and going, yay, life is great. No, but you know what? The affirmations. The moment when you stop yourself from thinking negative and saying, no, I trust and believe everything's going to be okay. And you just got to keep going and keep going. And then before you know it, once you start letting these things go and trusting and believing and whatever, things start shifting. Why? Because you're shifting. It's not the words that make it all happen. The words help you to reprogram yourself so that your brain knows things are changing. And I'm okay with that. Because life changes all the time. From the minute you're born to the minute you die, think of how many changes you go through. Oh my goodness. And you know what? What everybody else thinks is none of your business. So as you go through life and you go through these changes, if somebody's got something stupid to say, just whatever, right? Whatever. Okay? And if your parents are those types of parents where they're always dogging you for everything and telling you like they don't think what's right, what you're doing is right for you and what they know is better and blah, 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 whatever. And you know what? I'm sorry you feel that way, but I feel very strongly about what I'm doing and I'm going to do it. And if I happen to be wrong, then I'm wrong. But I can just move on and find the next thing. We got to do those things. We got to do those things. So think of all the changes you've been through in life. You've gone from being a baby to a toddler to, oh, look, I'm in kindergarten now. This is like big deal, right? I go to a school. But now it's like, well, you've graduated. Now you're going to go on to elementary school. But I'm afraid. You'll be fine. You'll make lots of friends. Your teacher's really nice. You can do this. You go on to elementary school and you go, oh my God, I'm so scared. Oh, this is pretty good, right? You start making friends. You have teachers. That school year ends. You're a little apprehensive about the next one, but you get into it. Now you get through elementary school and it's like, whoa, big deal. Middle school. Oh my God, I'm so scared. Oh, what's going? It's like big kid stuff, right? We've all been there. You get to middle school and you feel like the little kid of the bunch, which you are. You're the youngest one in the school. And you do it. Before you know it, you're the 8th grader, the big kid in school. And now you go into high school. And that, again, is another somewhat scary, nerve-wracking thing. And yet you get there and you figure it out. And you do it. In this meantime, through school, you've learned to ride bikes. You've learned to play sports. You've learned to swim. You've learned to do all these different things, ballet, whatever it is. And you've done it. Was it hard at first? Of course it was. Were you scared? Of course you were. But you did it. Now you leave there and you go to college. Oh my God, I'm an adult now. Oh my God, look at me, right? I tell my kids that all the time. I used to laugh with them. I said, how does it feel to adult, right? Because they were in school living on their own, having to clean up after themselves, which my kids were always fairly decent with that. So, no complaints, of course. But that's another step in the stage of life. Now you finally finish college. It's like, oh, thank God. 16, 17 years of school. I'm finally done. Now what? Well, now you're really an adult because now you got to get a job, right? So now you're working full time, hopefully, making money, have benefits. Great. Maybe you meet somebody nice. Now all of a sudden it's marriage or commitment, right? And you're like, well, this is scary. Let's move in together. Oh my God, this is scary. What if we realize once we're together it doesn't work? But you're not going to know unless you do. So it is what it is. So it's scary, but you do it, right? Because you feel it in your heart. Like, I feel the connection with this person, so I'm going to do it because I truly love them. Is it nervous? Sure, they get nervous. They're scared, but they do it. That's a change. Now let's say you're committed, you're married, whichever it is. Now it's have kids. And it's like, oh my God, I don't know how to raise a baby. Nobody does until you do it, right? And they figure it out. Is it nerve-wracking? Of course. Are they scared? Of course. I was too when I had my kids. I don't know, especially me. I mean, being a girl, I have a sister. My family was mainly 90% girls. So I had no clue on how to take care of a boy. I'm like, what do you do, right? Is there something different you're supposed to do? I don't know. What do you do for boys? But I did it. Because again, you figure it out. So on top of having a boy, I end up with a set of twins after that. Now, how do you take care of twins? I don't know how to do that. I can barely take care of one. I'm going to take care of two. But guess what? I did it. And I treated the 3 of them like triplets. And I did everything with them, from shopping to errands to, you name it. I did it. They went. And it worked. You figure it out. You always figure it out. You're in a relationship. Now the relationship falls apart. You break up. You're a mess. Now what do I do? And if you were living with them, now what? Where do I go? You figure it out. Really sit there and think about what you've been through in life and what you've made it through. And I'm going to tell you everything. Whatever has fallen apart, you have crawled out of. You really have. So if you're in the middle of a mess right now, whatever it may be, Good for you. It's fine. You'll figure it out. You'll get through it. You will pull yourself back up again. It's temporary. It is temporary. So don't think you're not good enough. Don't think you're nothing but fear. Don't think you're nothing but lack of confidence. Don't think any of those crazy negative things. If you feel it in the moment, you feel it in the moment, but don't say that you are that, because you're not. You are perfect as you are. You are a divine spark of, you are a spark of the divine. Okay, that's really what you are. A spark of the divine that is full of love, full of life, full of joy. And you are occasionally going to feel emotions. God gave us them. We're going to feel them, whether it's anger or sadness or jealousy or judgment or anxiety or stress. These are things that we're going to feel. They're not who we are. Right? So think of your emotions as like those people in commercials on TV. You know what? I'm not a real doctor, but I play one on TV. Okay? So, I have emotions, but it's not who I am. It's really, really true. So be mindful of that. Pay attention to that. Don't let your emotions take over. Don't let other people's words ruin you. Because again, they're just words. And I know a whole sticks and stones kind of thing. Words do hurt. Yes, they do. But you have to be stronger than the words. So when those ugly words come at you, say, I'm sorry that you feel that way, but I know who I am. So I would appreciate you keep your words to yourself. Right? Take control of what you do. You can't control what they're doing, but you can control what you're doing. So you can choose or not to choose to accept the words. You can choose or not to choose to set a boundary. It's all up to you. Remember, choices. I mean, unless you got somebody holding a gun to your head telling you got to do something or die, then, maybe you didn't have a choice there. But you know what? We always have choices in life, and I know that's extreme, but it's like, really, people, we have a choice. And because I talk to people, I didn't have a choice. Yes, you did. Well, if I left, I would have been living on the street. No, you wouldn't. Did you ever think of asking anybody, say, look, things aren't working out between me and whoever, and I need to get out. Can I stay with you for a couple of days? Or can I stay with you until I find a place? No, go to the next one. No, go to the next one. You'll figure it out. You will. There's never anything stopping you from moving on. Same thing goes for people that are abused. Before anybody jumps down my throat, yes, you have a choice. Do you know you have a choice? No. Only because you've been so abused that option has been sent back 1,000 years and you can't find it until the day you do. So there are different scenarios where you feel like you don't have a choice. But you do always have a choice. It's just finding the strength to go with that choice. So think about these different things. Your life is yours. I want you to live it the way you want to live it. Stop listening to everybody else's negative bullshit. Not worth it, okay? You know who you are. And you should stand tall and strong in who you are. And if I ever meet you someday and I say, hi, I'm Christine, I want to hear, hi, I'm Susan. Hi, I'm Stephanie. Hi, I'm David. Hi, I'm whoever you are, right? I don't want to feel like, oh, hi, I'm David, but I'm really insecure and I'm so happy to meet you, but I'm a nervous wreck right now. I'm so scared. What if she doesn't think I'm a great person? I don't want that. I don't want that, okay? Nobody wants that. Be you. Be who you are. Know that you are worthy. You are strong. You are courageous. All that is in there. You're letting the words tell you it's not. But you have a choice of what you want to listen to. the positive or the negative. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. So I just feel like the need to pull one more. Well, that tells it. Vanity, okay? Blue is throat chakra. Speak your truth, right? Speak with integrity. Vanity is worrying about what things look like, right? Stop worrying about what things look like. Because a lot of times, well, maybe they won't like me because, I'm not like, them and I have this and I have that. No. Stop worrying about what things look like. But if I decide to, quit my job and go do this great thing I've always wanted to do, what are people going to think? What are they going to say? What is it going to look? Never mind. Who cares? It's not their life, it's yours. You get to make the choice. You get to make the choice. Life is a huge lesson that continues from birth until death. So as the new tests, the new quizzes of your life come out, take them on, head on, and just do what you got to do. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. You can fix it. But if you're right, what a pat on the back that is. Give yourself a pat on the back for that, because if you've passed the test of life, then good for you. Good for you. Doesn't that feel better? Like, this is my life. I want to do what I want to do. Like, if I 20 years ago had made the choice to go tell everybody I was going to become a Reiki practitioner, more than likely 9 out of 10 people would have said, what the hell is that? And what, are you crazy? Right? Because I'll be honest, my ex I don't think thought it was anything worthwhile to him. He just kind of like to, keep things quiet. He was like, yeah, whatever, go do what you want. But once I started, every time he talked about it, he's like, I don't know why she does this. It doesn't make any money. I don't know why she does this. Nothing's happening. They just opened and nothing's happening. Not like it should. It should be super busy. I'm like, first of all, I'm not a grocery store. People aren't going to come in every single day, needing something, It's a whole different concept here. This is different, And he's like, well, I would have quit already. I'm like, well, that's you. That's not me. I am not a quitter. I push and push and push until there's no more push left. So you need to push and push and push. And I hope you can keep pushing all the way through until the day you leave this earth. But you got to do what you got to do for you. And I don't care. 20 years ago, somebody had told me, if I let too many people get in my head about, oh, what's Reiki? That's stupid. Why would you want to do that? You're never going to make it. I would have started second guessing myself, and I would have been like, maybe I shouldn't do this. But you know what? I just did it. I was so excited and felt so strongly about it. I'm like, I don't care. I'm doing it. So therefore, my sister and I did it. We opened up the place, and here we are, 19 plus years in. And I don't know. I think it worked out pretty well. So for the naysayer who didn't think this was the right thing for me, I'm sorry you felt that way. That's how I look at it. So I want you guys, for this week, really look at where you feel less than about yourself and figure out where it came from. And then I want you to release it and let it go. And you can do that by just saying, I'm releasing and letting go that situation that happened when I was 10 that made me feel like this. Okay? So just be mindful about that and just go for it. Go for it. You know what I mean? You'll be fine. You'll be fine. So I want to thank you guys again for watching. Until next week, again, if you guys have questions, feel free to send them in. sistersofsolace@yahoo.com. You can leave it in the comments here on Spotify or on YouTube, whichever works. And I will definitely answer your questions. So thanks again. Have a great night, and we'll see you next week.